Our story begins with Plo Koon in his Jedi starfighter on the planet of Cato Nemoidia. His heart was heavy as he felt the deaths of thousands of his fallen Jedi friends. He could sense that something horribly wrong had occurred. As he flew, he sensed his clone companions turning on him. His fellow clone fighter slowed his aircraft and began firing at Plo. Acting quickly, he moved to evade the deadly onslaught by accelerating and decelerating, avoiding any damage. No bullets hit his starfighter, and he was able to complete a perfect 180-degree turn, placing his craft behind the clones and killing them. As he flew away, his heart was heavy as he felt the deaths of thousands. He feared that the betrayal he had just experienced was happening everywhere. Plo was quick to leave the area. He knew that if he wanted to survive, he would have to lay low. As he landed, he tried to communicate with other Jedi to gain more information on the situation. His communication channel began to beep as an urgent message calling all Jedi back to the temple reached him. He knew he had to go back and save as many Jedi as possible. Plo wondered if the Jedi Council had survived, or if he was the last one left. Nevertheless, even if he could just save one Jedi from the Jedi Temple, then his journey would be worth it. The Jedi Temple loomed before Plo Koon as he witnessed the tragedy that had befallen the Order. Taking a deep breath, Plo stepped inside, knowing the risks but compelled by a sense of duty to confront the darkness that had consumed the Republic he had once served. He stepped inside and searched the halls. Suddenly, the stillness was shattered as blaster bolts erupted around him. Clone troopers, once his comrades in arms, had turned against them and began firing at him. Plo didn't understand how this could happen. He had fought alongside these men for years, and they turned their back on the Jedi like it was nothing. How could the entire Order have been so catastrophically fooled? He deflected as best as he could, but the numbers were overwhelming, and Plo found himself increasingly surrounded. Just when it seemed like hope was slipping away, a familiar presence rushed to his aid. Obi-Wan Kenobi and Yoda came rushing to help him. Unleashing their own lightsabers, they joined the fray, and together, the three Jedi Masters destroyed the advancing clones. Continuing throughout the temple, they were shocked at the level of carnage that had ensued. It was imperative that they change the signal, calling all Jedi back to the temple. If it fooled Master Plo, it would fool everyone else. Before they left, Obi-Wan commanded that he must know who caused this atrocity. This is when he learns that his apprentice, Anakin Skywalker, was responsible. Yoda remained stoic, knowing that he shouldn't focus on what he had just lost, but instead search for a resolution. He tells Obi-Wan and Plo Koon to go and find Anakin and defeat him, whilst he goes and battles Darth Sidious. The events would follow suit. Obi-Wan would go to Padme and ask where Anakin is, to which she would give an insufficient answer, although Obi-Wan knew that she was lying. When Obi-Wan secretly boards the ship, Plo follows. On the lava plain of Mustafar, Anakin and Padme are reunited, but it will be for the last time, as Anakin grows uncomfortable at the growing mention of Obi-Wan. When Obi-Wan appears at the ship's entrance, he is accompanied by Plo Koon. Anakin feels his anger surge within him, and he chokes Padme to the floor and prepares for battle. Kenobi tells Anakin that he has lost his way and betrayed the Jedi. Their light side users' swords ignite as Plo explains that he is under arrest. Anakin wasn't going to bow down. He was filled with boiling hatred, and the Jedi were about to experience it. Their lightsabers clashed in a spectacular display of skill and power. Obi-Wan's Form 3 Sorsu technique and Plo Koon's Form 5 Demso combined seamlessly, allowing them to fend off Anakin's aggressive and relentless attacks. Despite their efforts, Anakin's fury seemed boundless, and he gained an upper hand with each passing moment. The power of the dark side surged through him, driving him to push his former comrades to the brink. As the battle raged on, Anakin's raw strength became apparent. With a powerful force push, he sent Plo Koon hurtling to the side, momentarily incapacitating him. He then turned his attention to Obi-Wan his eyes burning with hatred. Using the Force, Anakin lifted Obi-Wan into the air, choking him and relishing in his suffering. Anakin laughed menacingly. He had waited for this moment, dreamed of the time he could get back at his master for all the suffering that he had caused him. As Anakin triumphed in his victory, he felt a surge of lightning hit him from behind and sent him plummeting to the floor. It was Plo Koon. His fingers were raised as a golden yellow stream of Force Judgment erupted from his fingertips. Force Judgment is a unique Force ability only accessible to a few. It is essentially a less powerful form of Sith lightning, as the user channels the light side to create the lightning instead of burning hatred. Plo and Obi-Wan march over to Anakin, who is wincing in pain. They had defeated young Vader and hopefully saved countless lives in the process. Plo placed Force handcuffs on Anakin and restricted his ability to use the Force. Kenobi then calls Yoda, who responds distraught. He explains that the masterful Lord Sidious had escaped his grasp and he had failed. Obi-Wan was able to explain that they successfully disarmed Anakin and were about to return to Coruscant. But as these words leave his mouth, Palpatine's ship flies above their heads and lands next to them, causing Obi-Wan to abruptly hang up on Yoda. Sidious was furious at Anakin and stared at him with disgust painted across his face. His expression was grim as he ignited his crimson red blade, explaining that he would deal with Vader's failure later. As the battle commenced, Plo Koon and Palpatine's lightsabers clashed with a brilliant display of colors, each strike resonating with the intensity of their emotions. Sidious was channeling his disappointment in his apprentice. Whilst he thought about the extreme consequences that would occur from his failure, different forms of torture that would teach Vader to never lose again. Obi-Wan was still extremely fatigued from his duel with Anakin, and the might of Sidious proved too much for him. The Emperor was able to catch Kenobi with his blade and kill him. This ignited Plo's mission to destroy the Sith as they continued to fight valiantly. He attacked with a flurry of strikes, each blow infusing with his determination to bring down the dark tyrant before him. With a roar of unleashed power, Palpatine unleashed a torrent of Force lightning, meeting Plo Koon's own Force judgment. The clash of energies created a dazzling display of light, but it was clear that Palpatine's dark lightning was far greater than his. Plo's lightning dissipated as Sidious crept onto his skin and caused him to be blown to the ground. He winced in agonizing pain as Sidious stepped closer, ready to confirm his ascendancy. He blasted Plo Koon with lightning as the Emperor's malevolent laughter echoed across the volcanic landscape, relishing in his apparent victory. But just as Palpatine prepared to deliver the final blow, a green blade appeared through his chest. It was Yoda, the wise and powerful Jedi Grandmaster who had arrived and stabbed Sidious through the chest. He gasped for air as his life force left his body and he was dead. In the aftermath of the intense battle on Mustafar, the galaxy begins its long road to recovery. Anakin Skywalker, now stripped of his Sith identity as Darth Vader, was taken into custody and confined to a prison, where he would face the consequences for his actions. Plo Koon, though battered and wounded, was placed in bacta tanks where he would make a full recovery. Through his skillful survival of Order 66, Plo Koon had been an essential part in ensuring that peace was restored to the galaxy. Yoda sent out a code calling for all Jedi to return to the temple. There were not many of them, but enough to the point where they could slowly begin rebuilding. As one of the surviving Jedi Masters, Plo Koon took a central role in rebuilding the Jedi Order. Under his guidance and the wisdom of Yoda and other surviving Jedi, the Order found its strength once more. Meanwhile, Bail Organa, a loyal and dedicated leader, was appointed as the Supreme Chancellor of the newly restored Galactic Republic. With a vision for a united and just galaxy, he worked tirelessly to bring stability and peace back to the war-torn systems. With the Jedi at the forefront of this new era, the Force's balance remained steady. The lessons of the past were learned, and the Jedi would stay out of all Senate affairs and focus on following the will of the Force. And so, peace was restored to the galaxy, and hope was rekindled. The once broken Jedi Order now stood strong, committed to its sacred duty, while the Republic embraced a new era of unity and prosperity. If you enjoyed today's video, you must watch What If Yoda Went to Mustafar instead of Obi-Wan, or What If Anakin Reached His Full Potential. Please check out our Discord page if you would like to be active within the community and discuss all things Star Wars. I hope you all enjoyed it, and may the Force be with you.